The Tate brothers, Andrew and Tristan, have left Romania. It comes after the Donald Trump administration leaned on Romania to relax restrictions on Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan.
The controversial social media influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan are believed to have left Romania on a private jet heading to the U.S.
Influencers Andrew and Tristan Tate are on their way to the U.S. after a travel ban on them has now been lifted. This is a new picture of the brothers boarding a private jet overnight heading to Florida. The brothers were in Romania facing charges for alleged human trafficking and sexual exploitation.
That's right. Andrew and Tristan Tate are in the United States of America. How on earth did we get here? In this video, I'm going to try to answer this question and have a look at what may happen next and whether this holiday for the Tates may even backfire on them. But first, this content is made possible by the supporters of the channel. To support some upgrades in future production on this channel, you can buy Gadget a coffee or join as a member. The links are in the description. Okay, let's have a look at how he arrived at this circus. For a long time, Tate has bragged about his relationship with the Trump family.
And I'm very close to the Trump family. I know them well, and I spoke to Barron after the incident, and I look forward to, once I am free, being with Donald Trump in person and reminding him that he's a bulletproof badass.
A few weeks back, the prospect of Andrew Tate having connections to the Trump administration reached headline news. Thanks to this man, Special Envoy for the Trump administration, Richard Grenell, after some conversations he reportedly had with Romania's foreign minister. Romanian media outlet G4 Media reported that according to the foreign minister, Grenell had raised the issue of the Tates with him, saying that he was interested in the fate of the Tate brothers. Grenell was quoted as saying that he had no substantial conversation with the foreign minister, who saw him in the hallway and asked for a meeting. Alarmingly, Grenell then went on to say, "I support the Tate brothers, as evidenced by my publicly available tweets." Grenell is not the only member of Trump's administration we've seen support the Tates. When Benny Johnson had Tate on his podcast in January, Alina Habba, Trump's former lawyer who is serving as a counselor in his second administration, joined the stream to gush and fangirl over the top G.
Hey.
Hello, Alina.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan.
Well, nice
Big
to meet
fan.
you. I'm a fan. You're the one saving Trump. You're doing more important work than me.
America, not just Trump. And I agree with everything you just said. And I think that your anger is the same that President Trump has for our country. And the time is now for us to stop being wimps. I think that's exactly the right sentiment. And I also have to say that I sympathize with you because I think you go through a lot of the same, show me the person, I'll find the crime that President Trump has gone through. And
The Tates also have a direct link to the White House. A former member of the Tates legal team, Paul Ingracia, is the White House liaison to the Department of Justice, and the man is a full-blown Andrew Tate simp. This tweet is just one of countless examples of him completely debasing himself like a 12-year-old Hustlers University student. He has simped for Tate in Twitter posts and Substack articles, and even taken part in the online harassment campaign against the Tate's US-based victim, Jane Doe. This pathetic tater-tot has a position of power in the White House. The Tate brothers also have a relationship with Trump's sons, Don Jr. and Barron. Roger Stone is a massive tater-tot. You really could go on and on. With all of these connections of Donald Trump's circle to the Tates, on Thursday, the 27th of February, we got the news that Romania had done the unthinkable.
According to reports coming from Romania, the Tate brothers, Andrew and Tristan, have left Romania. It comes after the Donald Trump administration leaned on Romania to relax restrictions on Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan. It was claimed that Mr. Trump's special envoy, who admits supporting the Tate brothers, personally intervened after American officials requested their passport be returned. The pair had been released from house arrest but had not been allowed to leave the country until, according to reports today. We'll get more from Siobhan Robbins in a few moments' time.
Romanian prosecutors lifted the Tates' travel ban, allowing them to travel to the United States. Once they arrived in Miami, Andrew got a golden opportunity to do one of his favourite things in the world: dribble complete and utter garbage to a group of reporters.
Listen. We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, a lot of things that go around about us on the internet. We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever. We have no criminal record anywhere on the planet ever. Our case was dismissed on the 19th of December in Romania under the Biden administration. And our prosecutor recently decided, because we have no active indictment in court, to let us go and return. This is a democratic society. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, as my brother and I are. And I think it's extremely important that we stop allowing media spin, wrap-up smears, lies, or carefully constructed narratives from George Soros-funded operations trying to destroy the reputations of good people who have no intention to do anything other than follow the law.
Why are you here in Florida? Why are you here? Did Donald Trump help get you the travel ban lifted? Did Donald Trump help get the travel ban lifted? Why are you guys here? Can you tell us? Why are you here in Florida?
Andrew, can you sign, please?
Andrew,
can you sign? Andrew, can you sign?
Of course, once again, he's lying. His case was never dismissed. One thing that many don't realise is that this lift on travel restrictions is temporary. They were given until the 25th of March, until they have to return to Bucharest for a court hearing. The reason given for this is to solve a series of family problems. Whether the Tates actually return to Romania on the 25th of March is another question entirely. Matthew Jury, the lawyer for some of Andrew Tate's alleged victims in the UK, told the BBC that he believes the idea of the Tates returning to Romania voluntarily is fanciful.
What do you make of the suggestion that they'll return to Romania?
I think it's fanciful. And I think if they do return to Romania, it will be with assurances that the prosecution's going nowhere. I don't think there's any chance that the Tates would travel to Romania willingly if there was a chance of them being incarcerated.
Okay, and what's your theory on what's underpinning this then? I mean, it seems an extraordinary thing that they've turned up in America, in Florida, and where they might go in Florida. What do you think's happening here?
Well, I think Trump's made the calculation, or his officials and those around him have made the calculation that Tate is popular with their base. But what I think they've miscalculated is the number of Republican voters and MAGA voters who find this absolutely disgusting, that the Trump administration would side with alleged human traffickers and rapists.
The Tates' first destination of choice in the United States was Miami, Florida. There is a few reasons why this might have been. Of course, I'm sure they would love to visit Mar-a-Lago. Some of the Tates' biggest simps live in Miami, like Patrick Bet-David and Fresh and Fit, and the United States-based victim in their human trafficking case in Romania, who is listed as Jane Doe, is based in Florida. The Tates have doxed, slandered, harassed, and frivolously sued her. They will take any chance they can get to intimidate her. Incredibly, as they were travelling to the US, the Tates filed for a temporary restraining order against Jane Doe. The Tates told the courts that they had suffered emotional distress as a direct result of Jane Doe's supposed threats. The Tates revealed to the courts that they are terribly scared, saying that it would have been unlikely that she could have carried out violence against Andrew and Tristan while they were in Romania, but that she could easily harm these poor defenseless boys now that they were in Florida. These supposed alpha males are scared of a 22-year-old girl. Of course, this restraining order is a farce, just like their entire lawsuit against Jane Doe, with the inevitable media frenzy surrounding the Tate's arrival in the United States and the Trump administration's reported involvement in it. President Trump himself was asked about this situation and denied any knowledge of it.
Keep that one.
You're going to keep that one.
President Trump, Andrew and Tristan Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so, why?
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already did.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
I do. Look, obviously this involves, there's an English element here, so obviously it's important that justice is done, and human trafficking is obviously, to my mind, a security risk, and so we'll catch up with the story in due course.
You're aware.
As of the recording of this video, we are yet to hear any further comment from the Trump administration. One US politician who has commented is Florida Governor Ron Desantis.
Is he welcome here? What the state do to send back to Romania or whatever?
We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Okay.
And this is where the question starts to be asked. Will the Tate's trip to the United States backfire? Not only did we get those comments from Desantis, Florida's Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, confirmed that he directed his office to work with their state law enforcement partners to conduct an inquiry into the Tates. He said that Florida has zero tolerance for human trafficking and violence against women, and if any of those alleged crimes trigger Florida jurisdiction, they would hold them accountable. This is potentially disastrous for the Tates. Jane Doe is based in Miami. Tristan recruited her from Miami under false pretenses with the intention of exploiting her on OnlyFans, according to text message evidence in the Romanian human trafficking case. And more criminal charges in Florida are not the only possible way that this trip to the United States could monumentally backfire for the Tates. In March 2024, extradition to the UK for both Andrew and Tristan Tate was approved for trial-ready charges including human trafficking and rape. Following this decision by Romanian prosecutors to allow the Tates to travel to the United States, there are calls for the UK to request immediate extradition of the Tate brothers from the United States to the UK. Matthew Jury, the lawyer for some of Andrew's alleged victims in the UK, has been vocally campaigning for this. Robert Gendrick, the Shadow Secretary of State for Justice of the United Kingdom, is heavily pushing for this. In the fallout of the news that the Tates were travelling to the United States, he posted to Twitter that this was predicted and should have never been allowed to happen. He said the US now needs to step up, that the UK has an extradition treaty with them, and they now need to cooperate fully. He pointed out that the Tate brothers stand accused of human trafficking and rape in the UK, and that they must face their justice system. He then followed up by calling for the UK to request for an immediate extradition of the Tates from the US to the UK, remarking that the alleged victims have been left in limbo for far too long. There are now reports that British Home Secretary Yvette Cooper is exploring legal options to extradite the brothers to the UK. And now, just to make this more of a circus, The Telegraph has reported that according to a Trump insider, extraditing Andrew Tate could risk the US and UK relationship, that it would go down badly with the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, who cares deeply about free speech. According to this report, Vance thinks that rape and human trafficking the king are a free speech issue. Some might rightly point out that we shouldn't take this newspaper's word that JD Vance holds this view. And to that, I would say this has been going on for weeks. If anyone from the Trump administration, JD Vance, Richard Grenell, Donald Trump himself will clarify their position on the Tates, and if they intend to interfere with their investigations in Romania and the UK, I will be happy to report it. But as of the recording of this video, they have refused to do so. Now, as I'm recording this video, we've had another update that has really added to the circus. Romanian journalist Mircea Barbu, who has covered the Tate case from the beginning, has reported that according to a trusted source who witnessed the Tate's departure from Romania, the Tates packed over 20 suitcases full of clothes and all sorts. They said the house is empty, and they pretty much took everything they own on that plane and just left. This strongly suggests that when the Tates left Romania, they had no intention of ever returning. This brings us to where we are now, and this is a quickly developing story. There are so many unknowns about what is going to happen next. Will the Tates ever return to Romania to fulfill their legal obligations? If not, do they have the protection of the US government to the extent that they will be able to stay in the United States indefinitely? Are the US simply going to allow them to travel elsewhere to safety, like Dubai or Russia? Will the Florida Attorney General bring charges against the Tate brothers, destroying whatever plans they had when they jumped on that plane? Will the UK put in a request to immediately extradite the Tates from the US to face prosecution there? If they do, will the United States government cooperate? There is so many directions this can go in, and I do not know what the hell is going to happen. But what I do know is I will be here to report it. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates on the Andrew Tate Clown Show.